You're watching Every Day's a Saturday, USCC veteran. Let's go, baby. And here's your host, Bryan. And what's going on, friends and family? Thank you guys so much for joining us on our final. This is our final interview for season 3. It is crazy to believe, man, that made it through a whole other season and brought Maria along for the ride as well. And she's been with us now you started with us on, I think it was Coffee Talk episode 11. So
Yep.
now we're going to finish off with 21 with you. So that's been
You mean
quite a,
31.
well, yeah, but 21 with you in total,
Oh,
right?
oh, 41
Yeah.
episodes with me.
Yeah.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
Yeah. And 32 in total of Coffee Talk. And I think I will be finishing off with about 139 interviews in total, like from start to finish on the Every Day's a Saturday side. So, wow, it's just crazy. And what a blessing it has been to make it this far. And we keep growing and it keeps getting better and better. And like I said, this Coffee Talk, bringing Marie along has been amazing. And she's been quite the addition and bringing on just amazing guests for us. And she went to Cash Coffee, which is our sponsor, and did a great interview there. That just dropped this past week. As you guys are going to be watching this, it'd be a couple weeks ago. But
Yeah.
yeah. So how you doing today, Marie?
I am kind of exhausted. I went to a funeral yesterday and have another one today, so, it's kind of emotional and not really sleeping well with that, but I am overall doing okay,
Yeah,
really.
you definitely have had a lot of funerals this year in general. I mean, my gosh, a lot
Yeah.
of loss.
Yep. How are you doing today?
I'm actually kinda tired, a little bit, hyped up. Last night was game 3 of the World Series, and, what an amazing game that was. If you anybody is a baseball fans out there, 18 innings. So, the normal game is 9 innings long, right? So, this game went basically 2 baseball games worth of game. It was amazing, and, the Dodgers pulled it off game 3, so now the Dodgers are up 2-1, and what an amazing game it was, and Mr. Clutch himself, um, Freddie Freeman came up and, brought in the winning run as usual, so it was crazy, and, Ohtani, dude's amazing. He was a 4 for 4, and then they walked him like 5 times. So he got on base 9 times. The game was like 6 hours and some change. I think it's the longest baseball game I've ever watched. And I just really started getting into baseball kind of like last year, really in depth. And so this year was kind of my first year watching it in its entirety. And it's just been a super exciting time, and so I was up really late last night. I imagine if you're on the East Coast time, the game ended, I think, around 12 something or 11 something. I don't know. It was right. It was before midnight, like 11:30 or something. So, late, late crazy game, and I was full of energy, so it's kind of hard to fall back asleep after that. Um, but yeah, so that's how I'm doing. Let's go ahead and brew up some coffee. And do you got yourself a poem lined
Sure.
up for us?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
And I am super excited for our next guest as well. So let's go ahead and brew
Me
up some
too.
coffee and we'll get right into this. All right. Well, go make sure you go try some Cash Coffee. And if you haven't seen that episode, I promise you, it is a great one. It was a little long, 2 hours, but I think we had like 5 or 6 interviews. It was a lot, it was just the first of a lot of things for the show. It was really cool. And,
It was so much fun, and it actually, like, we recorded for over 3 hours, so but we only cut it down to 2 for you because we had to, intersections of getting people on, so
yeah, it felt like a real
it was a
production
lot of
on that
fun.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, yep,
Alright, you
it was
got
all
yourself a nice poem for us to start it off?
Yes, sir. So
Alright.
I am going to do this poem today is called Frozen. And it's one that I wrote back in April 2022. And it was right when I started my intense trauma therapy. And after that therapy is when I ended up in the psych unit the second time, just kind of finally processing through many layers. But this is how I was feeling when I first started the trauma therapy. And so it's called Frozen. Scared to heal, scared to live. Why is there no care that I give? Desire to run or walk away, but can't take a step to get out of my way. I'm frozen in a bubble of time, completely surrounded by dust and grime. Cobwebs entangle my conscious mind, body entangled by ropes that bind. Apathy threatens to take control, darkening my beautiful soul. My light inside, it flickers and fades. Isolation cuts like sharpened blades. Fear of failure and fear of success. My brain and heart are completely a mess. Can't see a way out most of the days. My mind's labyrinth firmly betrays. Self awareness, a strength to many who seek. For a person like me, it just makes me weak. The answers to questions are already found. How to put them to work is way too profound. Feeling alone in this world of pain, for many, relief is easy to attain. Stuck in this loop day by day, consistently fighting to find a way to keep me from taking the easy way out of running or hiding or lazing about or going back to my old way of life, avoiding these feelings that cut like a knife. Although these feelings are overwhelming, the benefits of healing are very compelling. The pain is a bridge to a new way of life. I'm not sure what that is while still in this strife, but glimpses I've seen in the eyes of many. The resemblance to God is completely uncanny. Lots of work to be done and patience to find to help me get out of the ropes that bind. I've learned that I do not fight solo, for help was promised a long time ago. A Christ was born to take this pain, so happiness I can attain. One day, I hope to understand this. When he reaches out for my hand with his, he will pull me up where I truly belong, and I will praise him in holy song. To God, he will bring this humble girl, the one inside me, to be unfurled. For she has been hiding under this mess. She's been yelling out to me in distress. I just keep on pushing her down, but I know that to God she will always be found. God will embrace me with his heart and all of his love he will impart. Then I will learn what the sent and understand why I chose to be sent. With this reminder, faith again takes control, reminding me to keep God in my soul. I can fight through these feelings with help on my side and make it through this life's crazy ride. Ancestors, friends, and family too are there to help my faith to renew. Ups and downs will keep happening. That is a fact. I have to keep fighting to get out of that act. I keep telling myself to never give in. For if I stay frozen, life will never begin. Thank you.
Alright, thank you for another great one. Alright, well, you wanna get ready and, introduce our, next amazing guest?
Yes, sir. So Dr. Dice is here today, and Dr. Dice, he is a big advocate on helping people to heal out loud and get out of that frozen momentum, and so I'm really excited to kind of hear him. That's kind of why I chose that poem for today. So Dr. Dice is a former Navy SEAL turned clinical therapist, speaker, author, and founder of Bishop and Dice Defense, an organization that provides both TAC ops and PSY ops to veterans, first responders, and high performers navigating trauma, addiction, and reintegration. His journey is anything but ordinary. After years of operating at the highest level of military and private contracting, his life unraveled through addiction, moral injury, and loss. What followed was a complete transformation, one that took him from rock bottom to earning a PhD in counseling and developing holistic change model,
Mm,
a groundbreaking recovery framework now used to train therapists and support recovery communities across the globe. That is awesome. All of this has set the stage for his upcoming book release, After the Trident, a Navy SEAL's battle with secrets, shame, and addiction. That sounds intense. He's raw, real,
absolutely.
and unapologetically honest, sharing powerful insights about survival, change, and the road to redemption. So we are so excited to have Dr. Dice here with us today.
Absolutely. Let's bring him on in. Welcome.
Ooh. Hey
There he
guys.
is.
Hey, number 31, closing the year strong.
Heck yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
man. Yeah, you are.
Oh,
Actually, 32.
is
But
it
yeah.
32? Okay,
Yes, sir.
32. Yeah,
Yes,
there
sir.
we go. I like 32. Marie, what an awesome way to express what you're going through in that time. Your recovery must have benefited of having that ability to to get that out. That is amazing. Oh, thank you for sharing
Yes,
that.
sir.
That's why
Oh,
she that's why we brought her on,
I
Doc.
know,
Guys,
man.
she's
Oh,
just
I could
amazing with her
took me
recovery
right
and
back to being there. I was like,
the way
oh,
she just puts it into her poems and really
mm-hmm.
lets you kind
Gosh,
of
man.
hear her healing out loud. It's amazing.
I don't know if you had a
Thank you.
sponsor or a personal therapist, but what an
Many.
honor to be that to witness your journey. That would have been so amazing. I'm
Thank you.
very envious.
Thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate it. Yeah, the divine gift of finding my voice in poetry has been super super appreciated, and I have been so grateful for that. And there's been a
Hmm.
lot of people that have influenced that. And yeah, I've had many therapists, I've had many sponsors. So there's been a lot going on.
Yes. Oh, well, it's all happened for a reason, and here we are. This big
Yeah.
intersect. All our journeys are coming together right now for some reason. Let's find out why.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
And we would love to hear about your journey, man, and
Woo.
uh let's kind of give us a brief overview of
Sure, sure.
where you kind of grew up, what made you end up deciding to join in
I
the Navy, how did you become a SEAL and get through all that, and then I imagine life after was nothing short of amazing for you. So let's hear all about it, brother.
Sure, sure, sure. I mean, oldest of eight brothers and sisters, grew up in the mountains in Northern California, little tiny town called Horse Creek, population 89. Um, that's hard on a teenager, you're up in the woods. Ended up running away when I was like 16, because we were all homeschooled. There was like no social interaction. Boom, got out of there, got into a junior college in San Diego. I was drawn to an EMT class that I took that inspired me to want to like work on some kind of rescue mission. And there was a fire rescue, like a fire department hiring back up in the town of Wairika, in Klamath River. And I was able to get on that. And, I was able to work for the fire department for two
Oh wow.
years, got to go on calls. Back then you could ride on the back of fire trucks. I mean, it was just like every kid's dream to be a hero, and I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
let's go. 2 years into that, I transferred to an ambulance service because they had like the lights and siren. They had to like show up and save the day and take off back to the ambulance, the hospital code 3 and swerving through traffic. Those guys were awesome. And I did that for 2 years. Loved.
You had a little adrenaline rush
I
junkie
did,
right
man.
there,
Oh,
man.
I was
Jeez.
so addicted to saving the day. I wanted to be Indiana Jones, a hero. I wanted to be just that. My
Nice.
growing up, I had GI Joe characters and
Yeah.
Indiana Jones hats. That's what I
Same,
had.
man. Okay, damn. We could have
Yeah.
played together, bro.
Oh, well, 2 years into that, I was thinking about transferring to a sheriff's department that was hiring. So I took all my classes for law enforcement. And before I could transfer, my chief pulls me up and goes, Dice, what are you doing? You're just jumping around. You're going to do that your whole life. And I said, well, what's the top of the food chain? He said, a Navy SEAL. And that was my entire decision-making matrix was just that. I went down
Jeez.
to my recruiter and I said, hey, make me a corpsman on a SEAL team. He said, no problem, sign here. And I asked him, what's an EN? And he said, don't worry about it. Ooh. I'm still looking for that recruiter today. I mean,
what is EN? I don't know what that
is an engineman. And
oh
my God, it's the bowels of the
where
ship.
you got to go be in the hottest place of the ship,
130 degrees,
loudest,
double hearing protection. It's sunshine's up here in the bottom of the ship where you never see sunshine. That's where you live.
Oh, that's so sad.
That was horrible.
Guys coming out and they're all looking all like toasted coming out of there.
Snipes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, but that was motivation because I did raise my hand and volunteer to try out for Buds. And the penalty, if I didn't make it through Buds, is I'd have to go work as an engineman. So it was a great motivator to get through Buds.
Oh, hell yeah. This is inspiring you to be better.
What is Buds?
Buds is basic underwater demolition school.
Okay, you're talking to an army lady here, so I don't know any of this stuff. Brian probably knows
Navy
with the Marines.
I
don't know this stuff.
Yeah, it's like the first major challenge for a Navy SEAL. Inside Buds lies Hell Week, which is like the crucible. Our class started with 180.
Is that where they ring the bell if they're done?
That's where they ring the bell, and you become an X-Men if you fail. Yes.
Right.
It was a kick in the nuts. All the books and all the stories, all the documentaries, it's all true. That's took some years off your life. Made it through Buds, got to the SEAL teams, and there's something about the Navy that I loved, and it's relationship with alcohol. The term drunken sailor exists for a reason. I am issued this awareness that I can take a flask or a bottle of any kind of a liquor and I can solve any problem anywhere with anyone. I got a fight with this guy. We sit down, have a drink. This guy lost his buddy and I can sit down. We can get through it. This guy got dumped by his girl. I can get through it. I get elevated. I get separated. I get indoctrinated. Whatever happens to me, I know how to respond.
It became your best friend.
I've never heard it like that.
Dude, it's the end all be all. It's a Swiss Army knife of how to navigate your life, and
I was just going to say, I wrote a poem that's called The Mighty Foe, and it's about alcohol and how it became my best friend. It became my comfort. It became everything to me until it started ruining my life.
Bring the shots out. I mean, it is like, it is my go-to. And this was amazing to me because I didn't really, being socially awkward out there in the woods, all of a sudden I was given this tool to be a caregiver, hero, save the day. I always carried a flask. I mean, if we were going from a shitty op and shitty weather and just miserable, I would sit down and bust out the flask, and all of a sudden, I'm fucking the hero, man. Oh, fuck yeah, Dice. I knew you'd come through.
Doc.
Yeah. I mean, it was so bad during SEAL training. It's super, you're under a lot of pressure, a lot of, they gave us some night evolutions to do. And I had gone out the day before and I had buried little airplane bottles all over the beach in different places where I remember.
Oh, you were.
Dang,
I was that guy, man. Yeah.
Wow, you were systematic.
I mean, this is like the hardest training on the planet. And I'm still taking the time to put little airplane bottles out not because I just I needed to get a drink or I, break out in DTs, but because the camaraderie of you and I under crazy extremist conditions, sharing a drink together. It was just that awesome. So that continued, man. I love that relationship that developed between myself and alcohol and the Navy. Couple that with the brotherhood of a platoon. You get to the SEALs, you get your boys, you got training hard together, you're going out hard together, you got each other's back, you get to know each other really, really well. I loved that recipe.
Because you got trained like no others, right? I mean, the amount of training you have to do.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Probably enter the same room 1,000 times, right? I mean, just
and
you guys get to know each other in and out, and each other, the smell of each other's farts at that level. It's like you guys really get to be close.
And then some. However, there was this additional level. This was pre 9/11, guys. And this was, we did not have a war. This was a constant time of training, deploying, spinning up, nothing happens. Deploying, training, spinning up, nothing happens. Imagine being like a master plumber and never get to see a pipe. Master just, I'm just frothing at the mouth, wanting to do something, and I'm the kind of person, if you don't give me a mission, I'm going to make one up. I'm going to go get into mischief. That's kind of mission like. I'm going to go, okay, and go out and just get into some kind of.
Sounds very military minded.
Yeah, well, my head shed did not agree. Like, what's Ice up to today? I'm the guy, you get a couple drinks in me. You ever go to a concert and you see some fool climbing up in their light or the rafters up there? That's me. I would be up there cutting open chem lights and throwing them across the crowd, making stardust sprinkle on everyone. That would be me out there. I am going to get into some mischief. So you got to keep me occupied. I'm very much like, okay, let's do something cool. Yeah, I've gotten out of a bar in Chicago, and I'll vouch for this. And the bar kind of like, this is kind of dead. And I got my boys to follow me, and I said, hey guys. And I pulled up a manhole cover. I said, let's see what's down here. And we all went down, and the Chicago sewers, guys, are epic. They're like out of a Batman movie, man. Huge, cavernous. We're going everywhere.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Dude, right away, bro.
It was awesome. But that's the kind of like adventure seeking, let's go mischievousness I'd get into, because we're highly trained and highly motivated at this feeling that I can do anything, and it can bite you in the ass sometimes.
Because you are at the peak of you're probably at the best shape of your life.
Gosh, I mean,
you guys feel like you guys just run through fucking steel at this point. I imagine the way that they train you guys, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, I'll share one story that may or may not make it in the book, but because it's so controversial, but we were stationed at the Rock of Gibraltar. You got Spain. The southernmost tip of Spain is this giant rock. It juts out into the Mediterranean there, and you can see Africa. And it basically, whoever controls the rock controls the Strait of Gibraltar and all commerce that flies into Europe and out to the Atlantic. It's a huge strategic importance. And guess who owns the Rock of Gibraltar? Not Spain, Great Britain. So it has this giant British flag waving on top of the rock, basically a big fuck you to all of Spain. And they kind of have this animosity there. You could feel the tension of them existing there. And so we were stationed at the Rock of Gibraltar doing tunnel warfare training, which is fucking bizarre, crazy training anyway. And during some of our downtime, I said, hey, to one of my platoon buddies, let's go for a run up the rock. And so we ran up the trail all the way around. We get to the top of the rock, and it's beautiful. You can see Africa. And I'm looking around, and I go, hey, my buddy's name, cover me. He's like, what? We're in our running shorts, And so I grab out my spider coat, and I cut the rope on the flag, and I start bringing it down.
That's awesome. That's horrible.
And so here's the British flag is up there, and it looks small, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm bringing it down, and as it gets halfway down the flagpole, I can hear this. There's an alarm going off. Oh my gosh. And I look down the rock. I can see all these emergency vehicles start taking off with flashing lights, like a QRF, a quick reaction force being deployed. And I'm looking at Suf, and I'm wadding the flag up into this big ball, and I duck it under my running shirt, and I go, Suf, run. And we start running down the hill, going straight through the crisscrosses, the backtracks on the road, just going, bah. There was a minivan heading down the hill, and we waved him to stop. And the guy opens the door, and we tell him, we're late for a meeting. Can you give us a ride down the hill? We really appreciate it. He says, good night, mate. No problem. And so we get in, and we lay on the floor and tell him we're tired. And as he's taking us down the hill, we can see all the emergency vehicles passing by. And we're like, oh my God. Oh my gosh. He gets us out the gate at the bottom. We say, thank you. And we run, haul ass into our little barracks over there, and we stash the flag, and then we sit down and pretend like we're cleaning our weapons. Now the whole command is on alert, and they're searching everywhere looking, for this flag. Oh my gosh. My chief walks by, he looks at the two of us, and he goes, I don't know what's happening out there, but something tells me it has to do with you. And we're like, no, chief, we don't know what's going on, A couple weeks go by. We never got busted. It looks like we got away with it. Right before we leave the tarmac, before we get on our transport, it's common for the whole platoon to get out there and do a cool team guy picture with the Rock of Gibraltar in the background. That's like a common thing to do. And so our platoon gets out there and they're getting ready to take the picture. And my buddy and I get to the back of the line of people and we bust out the flag and hold it up.
No, you didn't, dude.
Behind the whole head shed, my CO, my AC, my AOIC, everyone's sitting there smiling, and there's the flag, and then we wad it up and put it away. And this is pre-digital camera, so no one saw what it looked like until 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks after the deployment. But that was our insurance that we
now
went
you guys
down,
can laugh about it.
They would all go down. I mean, but
wow.
that's the kind of stuff that the stinking thinking, lack of big picture, that like, let's just adrenaline rush. I was like that. And in time of peace, that becomes a liability, coupled with me drinking more and more and more and more. I was dabbling on the weekends with cocaine and ecstasy. That became something that I was caught up in.
Gets it out of your system, by the weekend.
Yes. I was near misses of a number of drug tests. I somehow they told me dice don't come in, or they didn't call me. And so there was a lot of that happening. And I really felt like I was a time bomb. I really did. I felt like, dude, something's going to happen. Something's big sooner or later. I have a good reputation now. My enlistment's coming up. It's been 5 years. I got a couple of good injuries, but 5 years. I've been, I was an ambulance service for a couple of years, fire department for a couple of years, 5 years here. So I'm like 10 years of being of service, basically, always having this cage on me of structure. I decide to exit the military. Dude, this was a huge decision because I really did love being a Navy SEAL. I did love the idea of being a Navy SEAL, but I had the hooks of I did not want to slow down my drinking. I was open to of doing more drugs. I mean, I loved ecstasy. Forget about it. That was incredible. I mean, so they had its hooks in me. And so I had this decision of, I want to party?
Were you in San Diego?
No, I was at East Coast. I was Little Creek.
Okay.
Yeah, Little Creek. So I had to make this decision, and I opted to get out of the military. Now, I know you guys focus a lot about that transition period here on there. Let me try to capture what happened to me. Because, fire department, ambulance service, military, it's like I drank a lot. I learned how to drink with these guys, but I had the structure of like, you still got to show up. You got to be sober. You got to, and when you took that off of me, and now you have zero accountability to anyone, I remember this feeling of, I could do whatever I want. I mean, it was like, I can disappear. I don't have to stop drinking. It was like a sense, I've never had the sense of freedom before. Bryan, this is when it became clear to me, in defense of freedom, veterans give up so much freedom. We give up, oh my God,
our rights, a lot of stuff.
Our rights, our freedoms, so much of our life, of us. We give up. People don't realize that.
And it's our prime years, man. We give up a lot of the prime years of our life.
Until I had it restored, I had no idea that that's how much impact it had on me.
Right.
Ooh, and I was I was an open mind, highly trained, super motivated, and all those skill sets that kind of helped me push through all these challenges and training and success, I used to go into the drug culture. I was like, let's go.
Yeah. You sound like,
dude.
We'd have gotten some trouble, man.
Yeah. I mean, it was, how hard can we go? I mean, I was And it was, and I went hard, and I was trying to function in a civilian society with this military mindset and just partaking of the bounty that was being a civilian, and it gets expensive. I'm telling her to tell you, cocaine's not cheap, and when you go hard for a while and you start having to realize that you're going to have to pay the man, this lifestyle, 9/11 kicks off. All of a sudden, there's this huge insult. Oh, I'm angry. I'm waiting for them to recall me. Then I'm thinking about, should I re-enlist? Because a lot of my buddies are going back in. I'm in that window now. I can still do it. But I'm very aware of this addiction I have. Like, I would have to stop using shit. And so I'm torn.
Right, you're torn, yeah.
I'm torn between, because I'm realizing that I do have I would have to stop this lifestyle. There was this middle ground I found called contracting.
You have to think, I guess, a little bit about it, huh? And you did have a realization at that point.
There's this middle ground called contracting. There's DynCorp, Usis, right. All these different contracting agencies at that time that were hiring, and they're looking for spec ops guys. A team guy, I could have choice of different jobs. They're offering $1,000 a day, and I got to go over and play on real short deployments, like 3-month, 4-month deployments, make a shit ton of money, be in country, get some of that rage out, be part of the playing the game, come back, party.
Now you can get a lot more.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, now a little more party time. It's like you earned it, right? Now you earned party time.
Yeah, but going back and forth, I was noticing this change when I came back to the States. A lot of the different PSD missions, a lot of the different cars I detail, all these different jobs I took. I came back and I was having trouble with a number of things. One, driving. I did not like stop signs. I didn't like stoplights. I would pull up there, car pull up next to me, kind of flinch, and I get angry at myself. Yeah. And there's something to me, the way I describe it. I know that I'm keyed up and I know there's no threat. So I feel crazy. I feel crazy. I'm angry with myself. A couple drinks, couple pills, that goes away. Now I can drive, and so I knew that I had to function in the US. I had to give myself a nice buzz, get loaded a little bit. I can function.
So you became a functional.
Yes.
You became a functional user.
Yeah. There was another solution I found, that if I just took another contract and I went back over into the war zone.
Distraction and what is it? Geographical cure. Let me go somewhere else and then I'll feel better.
But I did feel better because I was keyed up and there was a threat. I don't feel crazy. I felt normal over there. That was a way for my PTSD symptoms to negate. Was like, okay, this is how I'm supposed to feel. Come back to the States, I feel crazy. Go back. Okay, I'll go back over there where I feel relaxed. So I'm actually, it's almost like a vacation for me to go back over to Afghanistan, eat, sleep, and lift, make some money, get myself tuned up again, come back to the States. I feel crazy. I have to get loaded, party. If I was a video game character, my health points were going do. And when they would flash red, I would have to take another contract and go back over and recharge my batteries and my bank account.
So it damn near became almost like a system for you, and just became like clockwork. And you started kind of justifying everything in a way too, right? Because
one justifies the
one's
other.
Taking care of the other, and it's justifying one for the other.
We can believe our own bullshit so easily.
Can I ask?
Sure.
So addiction can take the form in many different ways, right? And what you're explaining to me really sounds similar to some of my own relationships with addictions, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, this makes me feel better temporarily, and then I go somewhere else. Oh, it's not working. Okay, this makes me feel good temporarily, and like it's almost like it sounds like this reprieve for you had become an addiction because you couldn't live normal life without this substance of going out and doing this. And so was that kind of did that kind of like parallel how, like, when you're in the States, your addiction was the substances, but then when you're like, this is an addiction too, like what's kind of
like the adrenaline? I think you had a little bit of the adrenaline. You were addicted to the adrenaline rush.
It's that
just as much as you were getting the high,
yes.
Right? I mean, and both of those have to do with a feeling to your body, and it gives you that dopamine that you're looking for.
Somewhere in my programming when I was young, and I had to do a lot of research and looking into this, both for myself and my recovery and into the book I wrote, was that I learned how to change the way I felt from the outside. I had to change location. I had to change what I took in. I had to change what I was around in order to change how I wanted to feel. That became my programming. So yes, adrenaline, using. I had all these levers to pull to change the way I felt inside. So that continued. And I don't know if I can share anything on the podcast now. Maybe I'll send you the picture, and you guys can throw it in editing afterwards. But on my desk, I have this photo I keep of me. It's a picture of me 2 weeks before I hit bottom. And now, because this back and forth for me, as with any kind of addiction, it slowly escalates over time.
And it's chipping away at you, right?
Chipping away at me. I had the alcohol years in the military, and that kind of phased into coke and ecstasy years, and that phased into the pills. You know, I had long pines, popping all kinds of crazy pills. And then I faded into crystal meth. Crystal meth wasn't, believe it or not, it makes good financial sense. You get a lot of meth for a little money compared to like the cocaine.
And you only need to do not as much of that, and it goes a lot longer. Right?
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant move at the time.
Right.
Gosh,
that's even worse of an addiction, though. I mean, honestly, I watched my dad. Yeah, I watched my dad really go down on that one.
Yeah, it took a toll. Let's see. I ended up weighing 130 pounds. Now, I'm 6'2", 220 right now. You know, and I'm about the same weight I was in the teams. So that's a lot of weight loss for someone.
A lot of muscle loss too.
Yeah,
muscle. It was muscles
crazy.
Away.
Yes. Let's see. Can I think I can. So anyways, I'm there, and I'm losing all this weight, slimming down. There's rumors flying about what's happening to Dice. And gosh, I remember getting turned down. Oh, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't think I'd work. That's me 2 weeks before I hit bottom. I weighed 130
dude,
pounds.
that doesn't even look like you.
Dude, there were rumors circulating that I was dying. I remember trying to take this contract, and the guy said, Dice, get your shit together, man. Come back.
You weren't eating much either, huh? You just didn't have the appetite.
I was on the stem fast diet. I was not eating anything.
Did you start having hallucinations and all that? Did you?
Oh my gosh!
Binge so long where you just
when you're up for 3-4 days, you know, you start seeing, we call them the meth men. They come out, you know, and they're the side of your eye. You're like, what?
Oh no! I watched my dad go through it, man. He used to see things in his shirt that weren't there, and he would come over and tell me, "There's baby mice crawling in my shirt." I mean, and I'm 9 years old, dude, tripping out on what is my dad seeing, man. He would binge for days.
Go through all of that, and so I ended up, you know, hitting the bottom, cratering. I mean, along this road, of course, what takes the brunt of it is going to be family first. You know, like my wife, my son there, that you can see the part of his head. That was Ronan. He was 2 years old at the time. You know, they take the brunt of it.
So you have a family
during this time.
When you're going through this. Huh?
I have.
So
I was a horrible husband. I was a horrible dad. I mean, it was just, I sacrificed everything for this disease, you know, blowing it up. And finally, if you have your car, you know, your house and your family begin to start wobbling first, and you try to cover for it, you know, and then your friends start wobbling. The last wheel to fall off is always the work one. You know, that's the one you try to protect because that's your income.
Is your livelihood. You're trying to protect that. And that takes care of your habit as well, right?
Exactly.
Well, there's the justification too. I'm a functional alcoholic or functional addict because I still have my job. I am still working.
I still have my job. I still have a car. What are you talking about? I don't have a problem.
Right.
So, you know, I finally hit bottom. Man, I ended up in a treatment center. And
what kind of made you break the bottom, though? I mean, what did you OD? Did you just have a really bad trip? Cops get called on you? What, you know?
I mean, you're calling me out on this one. Remember the H1N1, the swine flu pandemic? Yeah, that was going on, and I was on a 3-day bender, and this phone call comes in from the daycare where my 2-year-old son's at, and when you're all messed up, you don't answer the phone.
Right.
You let it go to voicemail, and then you listen to the message, And the message says that there's been an exposure at the daycare and they're having all their parents come pick up their kids and evacuate the daycare. So what I hear in my messed up meth mind, my son's in trouble. I need to save him. Oh my God. Okay. I gotta go.
You're fucking.
I'm
You're on
like,
that level.
I'm on that level. Let me just get one more hit of this fight. Okay. I'm gonna get straight. I gotta get straight. And then my wife calls in and I let it go to voicemail and I answer it. She's out of the area. I absolutely need to get him. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get out of here. Okay. Let me just get one more. The daycare is calling. My wife is calling. The daycare is calling. My wife is calling. For 3 hours, Bryan, I'm trying to get out of this room.
You're lost in time too,
dude, huh? It was torture. I remember tears coming down my cheek. My entire life I had trained to be a hero and my son needs me and I can't get out of this fucking room. I am just like, losing my shit, trying. I remember as clear as day taking up my phone, looking at it and turning it off, pushing it under the bed. I was like my spirit had broke. I knew that I was not going to be there for my son. This was the most important thing in my life. And my use, you think that would be like a bottom, like, oh, I need to get better. That was like the beginning of the cliff of the using. Like we've all been there where you have a bottle of vodka and there's like a third of the bottle left and you're just already so tore up and you shouldn't keep going. Then you just say, fuck it. And you just finish it because you don't care. I don't care. Right. If I wake up. I don't care what happens. It was like a passive suicide every time I used. It's just, I hated the guy in the mirror. I hated who I became. That led to me this, it was like a month and a half later.
Do you think, were you dealing with demons from what you experienced in the in the SEAL teams? Did you, what kind of stuff were you dealing with? Childhood stuff? Was it just everything kind of boiling up that you didn't deal with or haven't processed?
There was the feeling like a piece of shit. I had done so many shitty things because once I got out of the military and I started contracting, there was this real feeling of turning to the dark side. Like if I got killed on a contract, no one's giving my wife a flag. I was chasing the dollar. So I already felt darker doing this. Coupled with my addiction and this rage from 9/11, I just felt like it was the dark path. Like remember the Dying Corp and all the trouble they got into with the contractors down there? You guys remember that big fiasco? This was during that era. That particular fiasco was not me. But
what was the year ish?
This was in 2005, 6.
Yeah, I was still.
This was the private contractors.
Yeah, private contractors. Remember all the trouble they got into, like overreach, doing things they weren't supposed to.
Sure,
over there,
overstepping. Yeah,
I was part of that era. I was definitely pushing the bounds of what was appropriate. There were some things that we did over there that fucking haunted me, and when I'll openly talk about because it affected my family. If you go out and you shoot anywhere in the world, just practice shooting. You're just out the range for target practice. Out of the rocks, out of anywhere, kids come crawling out. They just come from, you'll be nowhere around, and all of a sudden kids show up and start collecting your brass. It's just something you get used to whenever you're traveling. This was happening, but these kids were being super aggressive and like pulling shit off our Humvee and just, getting too close, and we're shooing it back and they're not staying back. And the AOIC's like, guys, fucking handle this. And I'm like, okay. I'm like swinging a stick at them. They're still not getting away. And he asked, is this fucking mason dice? And I remember getting out there and just macing the shit out of all these kids.
Like a flamethrower.
And it's not by far the worst thing I did, but there was this one kid who just took it. It must have been 13 years old. This little kid just took it. Just as like a freaking man, just eyes and giving me the horrible death stare. And I'm looking at him going, holy crap, I just made it Taliban. I was like realizing that this was an intense moment. And that came out in nightmares.
He burned
Years.
he burned
Well,
into your memory, huh?
yeah, but not that night, not for years, not till I got out. But when I was, at home, when my little Ronan started crawling up on my lap, when I was a dad, that came back and said, "You're someone who maces kids. You're not a nice, loving father." And I was having these nightmares of that kid coming back at me. And whenever my son would come around me, I started getting nervous and I was having a reaction, and I had to get a couple beers in me or pop a couple pills so I could hold my son.
Mm.
That was
That's rough.
that was a PTSD moment that came back
Wow.
and got me. And I didn't really connect the dots until later in therapy, but that was something that it was years later. I mean, how I
wow.
should, that wasn't even the worst thing I did, but I had changed as a person into this father role and someone who loves this little guy so much, but I'm also someone who maces little guys, and that couldn't coexist. So yeah, so the demons like that would surface.
Thank you so much for sharing that, by the way,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
seriously.
you.
Just battling stuff like that, feeling like you're a piece of shit, you've gotten away with so much, and that shitty feeling resulted in me at some hitting this bottom, realizing I needed to get up because I saw this path unfolding where my dad died of addiction, I was going to die of addiction, and my son is next, and realizing someone's got to do something. And that was kind of what made me get out. And this is funny, this dates me. Back then, in any kitchen, because I wasn't at my house, I just went in the kitchen, started looking around. You would always find a Yellow Pages, this big giant. It was our internet in book form.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
what it is. It's
needed
Google
to look up a phone number. You had that phone book.
The Yellow Pages. You flick through it until I found a treatment center, and boom, called it. They had a bed, and boom, I went.
Wow.
Shout out to the Farley Center, freaking saved my life. Yep.
Wow.
Where was this at?
This was in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I went to the Farley Center in Williamsburg. And there was a therapist there who got through to me. And remember, my whole life, I had been, I had kit bags and gurneys and M4 and all this gear I had used to save lives. And this guy named Ray Summers came to work that day with a cup of coffee, and he saved my ass with a cup of coffee as a therapist. When I got through treatment, when I got into like a year into my recovery, I remembered that. And I said, that guy is badass. And so, after I went through, I was in a 12-step fellowship, went through all 12 steps. I was wondering what I want to do with my life. That occurred to me that guy was awesome. The way he connected, and I was sponsoring guys at the time. I kind of dug this sense of one-on-one intimacy. And I went back to school here at TCC in Virginia Beach. I got my associates in social services.
How old were you about this time now?
38 years old.
Wow.
Can I ask
Sure.
you a question? Because you kind of like jumped over it. And so I kind of want to hear a little bit of some of the dirty, struggles, right?
Mhm.
So when I first got sober 8 years ago, I found out that I couldn't work because my mental health just went so bad, and I've been unemployable ever since. And in my journey, because of my PTSD, I've got the complex PTSD from all the childhood stuff and rape and then military, and I was a medic myself. So, when I got sober, all of that stuff started happening, and I have had to be in the psych unit twice and an intensive outpatient program in my sobriety, as I'm processing through this. So I know you said, yeah, I joined a 12-step program and did my steps and then moved on. No, like tell us a little bit about, how that was. Because I know personally it was super difficult. So how did that go with your mental health, and like what kind of therapies did you do? And then and
all right, let me just
about that.
set the stage of how freaking serious I took that program. I'm in rehab, and I'm there, and I'm realizing like early on that this is a 12-step fellowship, and I hated 12-steppers. I was like, oh my God, these guys, and
another meeting.
I know, I couldn't believe I was here. And so day 1, 2, and 3 goes by, day 4 goes by. All of a sudden, I'm a little bit of like, maybe this will work. I'll allow myself a maybe, just enough. Okay, I don't want to be that guy. Maybe this will work. So I'm kind of listening, kind of participating. I got at least a little bit of maybe some hope, maybe some hope.
You were getting a little bit more receptive to it.
A little bit, like I can change. Maybe this will work. I cracked the door just a little bit. Day 5, day 6 goes by, and they tell me my insurance is going to stop paying, and they're going to transfer me to a lower level of care. And I lost my shit. I was so mad that they would give me hope and then rip the rug out from under me. I was going to fight them. I was grabbing the chair. I was yelling at them. People are coming in trying to calm me down. They said, Mr. Dice, if you have $9,000, you can stay. And I was like, wow, who has $9,000 in rehab?
Yeah.
No one comes here with a bunch of money. I was so angry. I mean, I was going to go to blows with these guys. I was trying to borrow money from people. No one had any money to lend. I knew if I left there, I would die. I would relapse. I had hope. I needed to have that hope. I wasn't going to let go of it. I asked my therapist, can I have a 4-hour pass? And he was genuinely worried I was going to go rob a bank. He's like, what are you going to go do with this? And I said, no, I still have my car. I want to go sell my car. And so I took it to CarMax. I sold it. I'm sure they screwed me over. I got this check, and I'm going to bring it back to the Farley and pay for my rehab. And on my way across the parking lot, I realized I don't have to go back to Farley.
Oh, no.
You don't have what?
I don't have to go back to rehab. I'm out right now. I have this check.
And he's got this nice little piece of change.
That's a lot of meth right there. I'm thinking about it, and oh, my gosh. But I remember that little bit of hope. I mean, just that little bit. And I said, I want that. I want that. So I want to change. And I went back to Farley. I didn't even cash a check. I just endorsed the back of it and gave it to Farley, and they accepted it and let me stay. So now I'm at Farley. I feel like I have skin in the game. I had put all my poker chips in, and I bet it all. And I am sitting in the front of every single lecture. I am taking crazy notes. They said get a sponsor. That night I got a sponsor. He said to call every day. Dude, I called them 3 times a day. They said to go to a meeting every day. I went to like 3, 4, 5 meetings a day. I was just going as hard as I could because I was scared. I was scared of relapse and being that guy, And my sponsor told me, he says, did you drink just enough to feel it? I said, no, I drank it all. And then I found more and I finished that, and I did some blows so I could do some more. And I kept going, that's how I rolled. He said, well, 90 meetings in 90 days was the minimum required to stay sober. You might require more. So if you used hard, you're going to have to recover harder. And so I just went, step work, going as hard as I can on my sponsor, as deep as I can, going out, every single step is hard. It took me like over a year to get through it, going as hard as I could. I remember the first time I ever wrote all the ink out of a pen. And I was like, whoa, I've never done that before, Yeah. And so, I took my first year super serious, and I went to like almost over 1,000 meetings that year. I was just wanted to be super sober.
Now, during that year, did you start to feel the change subtly? How did you start to feel it? Because is that what kept fueling you? Like every day you felt a little better? And
there's a saying that others will notice the change in you before you do. That was definitely true. People are watching me. I'm gaining weight again. I'm showing up when I'm supposed to. I'm being a productive member of society again. And all of these things are changing me. And at the end of that year, I'm realizing that holy shit, I'm way more empathetic than I realized. Like this, when you sit down with a sponsee and you begin to share and I was like, whoa, there's something here. And I remember going to my sponsor and saying, I didn't even want to say it out loud, but I said, I think I want to work in social work. Like it felt weird coming out of my mouth. It's like alien. I think I want to be a therapist.
You're like,
yes. And my sponsor said, well, maybe it's time to go back to school. And I was like, these fears when I was younger and homeschooled of me not being smart enough started coming back to me, not being good enough. Like, or I've fried too many brain cells. My brain doesn't work anymore. And I remember being very worried. Here I am, like a former Navy SEAL going back to a junior college, a little tiny TCC with all these kids there. And I'm like kind of scared. I'm showing up to the class and everyone thinks I'm the instructor, and I'm like, So there was a lot of apprehension about me going back to school and whether my brain could still work. And
this This is a random side note, but you said, when you were younger, you liked to get in trouble. Is this an instance where back in the day you would have jumped up in the front and just started teaching?
You don't even know. Oh, I later on I had gone on to going to like a Old Dominion University, and that day one orientation for there, it's like a huge auditorium, like 500 students showing up, to get the orientation. And I walk right up to the front. I climb up on stage, and I said, "Hey guys, let's start off today with a little Warriors chant." And I started leading them in this Navy SEAL Warriors chant. And then I just got off the stage and sat down as a new student. But yes, I'm exactly that kind of guy.
Got them turned up, man.
So I had you pegged there.
You had me pegged. I was like, this is the moment. Yep, I can take advantage of it. So yeah, but going back to school, I hit it hard. I got some A's in my first classes, and I was like, oh, my brain works.
Wow. Yeah.
I got my associates, transferred to Old Dominion University, got my undergraduate and my master's. My undergraduate in human services, stayed on for my master's in counseling. And because I'm an addict in all things, I went after my PhD and got my PhD in counseling.
You found a different addiction.
I did.
Huh?
I did.
But that's a better addiction. That's something
absolutely.
like when I first got
at least
sober,
that addiction pays off, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I switched my addiction to working out for a while, and
yes.
I was just at the gym at like 4 times a week, and working out. So it sounds like you're like I'm gonna go learn. So I think that's awesome.
Go hard.
And how long altogether with your schooling? So you went associates and all the way to your PhD.
Well,
so how long
I
was
went
your
through
schooling?
like associates, undergraduate, masters, and on my 5-year recovery anniversary, on the day on July 29th, 2015, that's my 5-year anniversary, I walked back into the Farley Center and I knocked on their door and I said, "Can I work here? You guys saved my life 5 years ago." And they hired me.
No
they
way.
hired me, dude.
I love that story.
Dude, the same therapist when my therapist was still there. He took me under his wing, and for a whole year we worked together, learning how to be a group therapist. And I love
Marie. How many times have we heard this on the show, right? That the people that go through something become they become part of it and become an advocate for them. I love that.
Oh, man.
You obviously felt so, so helped by them, and you felt so, it made you feel a certain way that you actually went back and said, "Hey, I want to be part of this too and make people feel the way I did," right? That's outstanding.
Well, that's exactly, what, so our unofficial motto that I am starting to create, and I'm going to get us a little logo or something for it too. But our unofficial motto is healing out loud, PTSD to advocacy. And that is exactly what you are doing. And I love that. And then we were introduced recently. I interviewed on a different podcast with another veteran who's working with veterans in jail and their mental health up in North Carolina right now. And he gave me the term post-traumatic growth. So instead of going from post-traumatic stress disorder and like you're feeling disordered and you're feeling broken and you're feeling like you can't get out of there, if you can turn your mindset to post-traumatic growth, how can I learn from this trauma? And it sounds like that's exactly what you were doing, and I love that. So that's perfect.
Dude,
and it sounds like your trajectory, man, just kind of thrusted you, right? And you just each step made you feel a certain way that made you want to grab for the next ledge, right?
And there were little moments that told you you're on the right path. At the 1-year mark at the Farley Center.
That assurance,
that assurance.
Right? Like anytime you had that little doubt, boom, here's that sign. No.
That little sign saying you're on the right path.
Love that.
I call them God dots.
Yes. Yeah,
1 year into me at the Farley Center, my therapist asked me to cover his group. And so I said, okay. And I'm sitting in his room, in his chair with his notepad and his pen, the same room that 6 years ago I was in. And this guy walks in and sits in the same chair that I sat in. And I knew everything in my whole life had to happen the way it had to happen for me to end up in this chair. I mean, it was like this moment of, oh, I get it now. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. So from that, it just kept escalating, realizing veterans need special care. I helped develop a veteran program at the Farley Center that the veterans can go through, and an all veteran support group for them. And that escalated. And I ended up opening my own company, which is a veteran support and law enforcement and first responder support company. And we focus on, getting the help to the heroes that need it. And it's just been like, force multiplier, and much in line with the spirit of your guys' show. The tagline on many of my emails is, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him to fish, you feed him for life. Teach him to teach, and you will feed the world. We need to take people and help them heal, help them to heal others. I'm always looking for that diamond in the rough, the future therapist. I have special programs that we put through people to get them certified, the peer recovery specialists, all these different avenues for veterans to get out there and realize that, hey, your mission's not over. Yes, you've been through a lot of shit and now you're clawing your way back, but guess what? There's another mission for you. We gotta get, there's still guys behind enemy lines. We got to get back out there. There's more work to be done.
Dude, you just shot off like 5 different types of shirts you could make out of your, all your words, man.
Yes. Oh my God.
Great motivation, man. And, it just goes to show how your training. I think, as a Navy SEAL, you guys endure, I think, stuff that people can't even fathom. I mean, even just training, right? And getting put into places that no one else wants to go, and I see so many of you guys come out and have the warrior just mindset instilled in you so much that you guys are a force to be reckoned with. Whenever you guys get put into a position and you guys are at your peak, you guys are an amazing force to be reckoned with, and I think that the military alone, the veterans, anybody that has served, has so much to offer. It's such a shame that we come out and there's almost like it's almost like a story for you when you get out. Here's your story. You're going to go through this and all this stuff. And you show, man, what it's like to have that clear mindset and what a warrior could look outside of after serving their country and what they can still be doing. If we can get other warriors in our community to be healthy, to have that right mindset, talk about a force to be reckoned with, man. And how we all come together, different colors, different races, different religions, and we just have one mission and goal. And that's, for one, we all want to go home to our families, and we want to make sure that, we make it all out, without getting hurt.
Right.
But I just think it's important for everybody to understand, though, that if we work on our veterans and we get them to be healthy, that there's a lot that can change in this world from learning what a warrior does on the battlefield and can do off the battlefield just as well.
Yeah. Oh man, you nailed it.
I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more, because you kind of like breezed through them and I didn't have a chance to write them down.
Sure.
And I mean I could go back, but can you kind of talk about the different organizations that you are developing, that you were just talking about, and then also the certifications that you are helping people get? Can you kind of like go into a little bit more details about that stuff? And then also, what is your social, so somebody can reach out to you if they're interested?
First and foremost, one of the biggest resources I used getting back into school was, the Veterans Outreach Center and all these different institutions. You go into a college, they always have a Veterans Center, a Veterans Hub, something there. I walked in there, didn't know exactly what they could do for me. And, I have some disabilities. I have some nerve damage in my hand and my arm and stuff. And immediately they gave me all kinds of electronic ways for me to take notes. They even provided me with a note taker for class who would follow me around, take notes for me in different classes.
Wow.
They had all kinds of things I never could fathom they could do for me. They
No
were
kidding.
super accommodating, but it took me walking in there and saying, "Hey, I got a problem," and that was me advocating for myself. That part for veterans, I think, regardless of what level your disability is, walk in there and ask, what is available to me, and take advantage of it. I mean, there is it's funny, if a new weapon comes out, or a new armament or new body armor, even if it's unfair to the enemy, we're going to take advantage of it because it ensures our success in our mission. Have that same attitude going into your schoolwork. Even though other kids don't have this advantage of having a note taker, it's available to me for success in my mission. My mission is to get the degree. We need to adopt that. Yes, you probably could do it without. However, why not have the best body armor? Let's go. So adopt that mindset if you got to get the best tools to get your mission completed.
I love that, because so many people are ashamed of asking for help, and they're like, well, I don't deserve it, or yeah, what you were saying, well, it's not going to look good because other people aren't
Dude, we
using that,
don't
and so
fight fair in combat. I don't.
yeah,
I don't use the same gun as my weapon to make it as my enemy to make it even. Let's have I get the best gun I can. Yes.
I think a lot of it too is that there's always been that misconception and things, right? And things are put into our head as veterans, right? Even while you're serving, right? And there's a lot of things that are already just getting planted seeds in your head. So when you get out, it's those start to blossom and create their own fruit.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that starts to happen. And that's why I think it's important to have these podcasts and to speak out loud and stuff like that. I'm really hoping that the younger generation will listen to this, even though I know, right? Like when you're in, it's kind of weird how it is. When you're in, you don't even think about the veterans at
Not at
all,
all.
right?
Not
You don't
at
even
all.
think about being a veteran, all those old veterans with wearing their hats and stuff, Um,
that's not going to be me for about 50 years.
And then the next thing you know, a couple years out, you're getting tattoos, and I like that hat. You know what I mean? And now you're getting the hats,
You're
and
getting the hat, and
you become part of that you become part of something that you don't pay attention to, right? We didn't, and that's the same thing I think as us veterans. We should be looking at the homes that our veterans are sitting at, and a lot of us that are capable should be going in there and making sure that our brothers and sisters have appropriate care, that they have visitors coming through and seeing them and things like that. Because one day we might be sitting in that same chair that they are. It would behoove us to make sure that the place that we're going to go is functioning right and being taken care of. So I feel like a lot of times we, even while you're in, they don't even focus on when you get out, because when you get out to them, you're not really worth anything anymore. That gunnery sergeant don't give a shit about you when you exit out the gate. You know what I mean? When you're done, he's like, fuck him. You're gonna be a nasty civilian now.
Right.
So we just kind of have that disconnect from active to veteran. There's got to be more of a bridge there, right? And I think that even the active duty staff NCOs out there should even have some veterans come in and have a little talk, and when those guys are getting ready to do separations and things like that, and talk to them, say, hey, dude, listen, right now you feel like you're fucking badass. You can do it all. But once you walk outside this gate, life changes. You don't wear that. You don't wear that protection armor anymore, which is your utilities and your uniform. You don't wear that no more out there.
Absolutely.
You put on everything just like everybody else, and you become part of the general population. And then we have expectations while we go out there, and none of it ever meets any of our expectations, right?
It's so true, man. It's so true. And
one of the things that I am working on, I just wanted to throw this out there.
Sure.
So I am working on a list of resources for veterans, and my my end goal, what my ultimate goal. Sorry, my couldn't speak for a second. The ultimate end goal that I am working on is to get a list of veteran resources and get them into when people are transitioning out and doing the taps out of the military. I want
Gotcha.
this to be something that they can hold on to land on. And that's also one of the reasons why I share this with the local Air Force base here, Hill Air Force Base. I'm on one of their Facebook groups. And so I share some of the podcasts on there because I'm like, hey, you guys need to know some of the resources that are available. And if you're listening and you are on some of those Facebook groups, please start posting these on some of the active duty sites because people need to know the resources that are out there.
Right.
But anyways, continue.
Let me throw you a couple resources.
Yes.
And this is also a big one too. I was the old GI Bill era, and I went to use my GI Bill, and the 10-year window to use it had expired, and so I couldn't usually go back to school. And someone in recovery said,
"So you were pre 9/11, Bill?
Pre 9/11,
right? Because they let you extend it
and
out."
so I went to use it and I couldn't. And someone in recovery said, "Well, write a letter to your congressman." And so I wrote a bunch of letters, and it worked. One of them came back, and they granted me an extension, and I got to use my GI Bill. So
you just had to do it.
Just got to do the paperwork, man. Do the paperwork. But Marie, for your things that I've been experienced with that would work well for your veterans, a peer recovery specialist. Now, this is available in most states, and it is a level of it's like on the way to be a therapist. It requires very little additional classes, and you're able to help people in recovery at recovery centers. You can work, and at different counseling centers, and you're able to go out into the field. And it's only a few classes you have to take at like any real university. I think some places even online, but they're called a peer recovery specialist. Please look it up, and you'll find the link. In addition to that, there's programs like Old Dominion University has a 2-year tract human services addiction tract that you can get on that can give you a quick route to your CSAC, your certified addictions counselor, a certificate, and that you can get hired. It's like the quickest way you can get from boots on the ground, 2 years of schooling, and get hired in a treatment center if you want to begin to work as a therapist or a counselor. So these are ways that you can take a veteran who wants to work in this area and help others. We can get you there quickly, and most of those classes are available online. So that's an easy way to facilitate getting there.
Wow.
So those are areas I've looked into.
What are some of the resources that you have created then as well?
Okay, I have created mainly Bishop and Dice Defense, the company that myself and Scott Bishop have formed. We came about 3.5 years ago. We decided, hey, our mission was how do we reach veterans, law enforcement, first responders, these heroes in our community who don't want to talk to people. They just have their dukes up. They were going to do their job, and go down with the ship. That they don't trust anyone. So what we came up with is this TAC Ops PsyOps protocol, where for the first year, we're going to come in to your police department, your fire department, your VA facility. We're going to provide tactics, training, all the cool Gucci gear the team guys are using. We're going to give you the best body armor available. We'll supply even paper products, whatever you need. We'll just be there, Johnny on the spot, talking shop, getting to know you, earning your trust. And on year 2, we bring in mental health services. Now that you trust us, now you know who I am. Now you know what I'm about. Now you can begin to lower your dukes and be open to talk about or just ask questions. What happens if I raise my hand and ask for help? What's the difference between inpatient and outpatient? How does that affect my career? We are a door to that kind of information, and we work closely with their commands. We work closely with the individuals. We even provide an access for anonymous questions. They can log into a group anonymously and just ask questions off the books totally. So that's Bishop and Dice. That's one avenue we've set up for helping veterans, law enforcement, and first responders. In addition to that, and I'm glad you asked, I have written a book. The book is called Beyond the Trident. Let's see here. I can pull this up. And so it's called Beyond the Trident, and a Navy SEALs battle with secrets, shame, and addiction. The reason I wrote a book is that there was an interview I saw Steven Spielberg do that was, gosh, he said, if you want to change someone's opinion, don't try using facts or statistics. Share a story. A story will change someone's perspective. That's the most powerful means to get across to someone. That's something they can relate to. So I wrote this book.
You look younger now than you did when you were all messed up, man.
I know, man. I definitely should stay away from meth. It's not good for me. Yeah. So I wrote this book, and yes, it has my story, but here, just a warning, guys. This is not your Navy SEAL combat, shoot 'em up, bang, bang, explosions, saving in the day kind of book. This is a story of a high performer who, if you look under the hood, the crazy mental stuff I'm going through, all the deceit and self, deprecation and, just all the negative sides. If you looked under the hood and find out what's going on, this is all that stuff and how it took me down in the end, how I blew up my life and how I began this journey out again. This book is for two people. One, if you keep blowing your life up, or even if you're a high performer, but as Rob Wilson says, your check engine light's on, you feel something's amiss. This book might give you some insight to prevent you from losing it all. But the other person this book might be for, if you have a loved one who you watch keep doing the same insanity over and over again, who keeps just, why are you making these poor decisions? This could give you some insight to what's going on behind the scenes inside that crazy brain of theirs. So, it also has, I spent a lot of time kind of shifting through the embedded theory of 12-step recovery and really bringing it to light of what's going on in my journey during this time and how that fleshed out in the 12 steps. So there's a lot of, I wanted it to be an accompanying read, like an assigned reading for a college course. So there's a lot of good information in there.
That's outstanding.
Cool.
That's awesome.
And you are a busy guy.
Trying to
be. And I know today we're going to have to cut it a little bit short, but we would love to have you back on here to kind of talk a little bit more about your story. You can either come back on us and do this group chat like we're doing, or you can do a one-on-one with Bryan. Either way is fine.
You won't take it personal,
we would love to have
Marie?
you on to kind of share a little bit. And actually a note that I wanted to talk about, but we're not going to get to it this time, is you just made the comment about this is your book is a good resource for families. And when we have you back on here, if you'll have us,
Sure.
I would like you to touch base, because you said that you had your family in your active addiction and then in recovery. So at some point, I would like to touch base on that. Bryan himself has an experience of, having a family in PTSD and trauma, and then in recovery and from his PTSD and stuff, having another child and a new wife. And so we have talked about that a lot, and we would love to have your perspective and kind of talk a little bit more details about what's in your book that can help and just your own experience. This has been so amazing. And like I said, if we could talk for about 3 hours with you, I would love that. So please come
absolutely.
back. This has been
Dr.
fantastic.
Dice, dude, I would go into the fire flames with you, brother.
Oh, man, I appreciate Bryan so much. Hey, let me throw one more web address out there for you. It's www.drdicebook.com. It's www.drdicebook.com. That's where the first access. The book's going to drop next week, and if you want access to it, that's the way to get it.
So what's the date? Because this is going to be published in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Is this right here?
Available now.
Oh, I got to put book.
Yeah. DrDicebook.com.
Is it DR or DOCTOR?
It's Dr. DR. DICE book, BOOK.
So what's the date of the book launch?
Let's see. We're going to go for, the 15th of November, available on Amazon. Yeah.
So this might publish before. So
there you go. Perfect. You nailed it, man. Just go to there. You drop your email on that link and you will get first access. It will email you the link on Amazon and you'll be good to go. Yep.
Nice.
Absolutely. If you want to follow any of my social media shit, look Dr. Dice on any social platform and you'll find me.
And also at some point, you guys check out it was Homefront Sit Rep that Dr. Dice was just interviewed on as well. And he's our fellow podcaster.
Hanging out with
and
Willis. All right.
We love
right.
Willis. We're
Dude.
gonna have him on soon as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, go and see his podcast there as well. And you know, Dr. Dice, it's been such an honor. Like, I've heard a little bit about you, and you know, when we were able to get you on the schedule, I was so excited. And again, and I am trying to manipulate you here. We want you back.
Dude, send me
regularly, bro.
Let's do it, man. Let's make it a thing.
Awesome.
We love you, man. And thank you so much for your service to our country and the service that you are still doing to, you know, for our brothers, our sisters. And you are a fucking inspiration, bro. And
yes,
a huge fan of yours, and look for some great things for Dr. Dice. Thank you so much, man.
Yes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Whew. All right, guys. Well, man, I tell you what, we could probably do several episodes with Dr. Dice. He's quite the inspiration, been through a lot of great things, and I love how he's able just to come out and be so transparent with it, right? Because that's the only way we're going to learn from anything or anybody is being transparent. And you know, and the great thing about transparency is it shows that you're a real person and that you really go through some things. And we all do, right? And sometimes it's not that we want to, it's just that it comes our way and we have to go through it. So there's no shame in it. And Marie has came up with the best saying ever, healing out loud. We're definitely going to be looking at some merch here in the future. We do have I have these shirts. I haven't really put these shirts out because I just didn't like the pricing on them. I don't like to overprice anything, and you know, for the pricing, I was like, oh, okay. So I just kind of have some but we'll get some. I think we're going to make some coffee talk shirts, healing out loud, and some of the great slogans that you've heard on the show as well. Maybe do some stickers and things like that. But, you know, look out for some great things for 2026. We thank you so much for you guys continuing to support us. This also is a great opportunity for you guys to go back and rewatch any of the previous episodes you haven't been able to check out. And and also
Bryan,
if you need
Bryan will be publishing them for the month of December. So keep an eye out. Yep.
Yes, good. Thank you for mentioning that. We will be dropping them on the Facebook side, so you will be able to actually watch the shows. We're going to start doing that in December. I think we have almost enough to cover out almost every day of the year. If not, we're just about 10 more days. So I know we got to get the heck out of here. We thank you guys so much. If you guys want to contact Marie, here's her email. Get in touch with her. Here's also her website. And she also has a new group that's a new community as well on Facebook. You want to shoot that out real quick, and then we'll get on out of here.
Yep, it's called Slider Babe, and it is focused on creatively healing out loud through community. So if you just look on Facebook for Slider Babe, and you can find the group, we would love to have you on there to share how you're healing out loud using creativity.
And Marie, one more time, I just thank you so much for joining me on this journey and making this show so much better as well. So it's just been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to starting season 4 with you and seeing where it goes. So,
well, it's been an honor working with you, Bryan. Like, it really, really has. I've loved being a part of this. So thank you, and thank you for what you're doing, because you've been doing this for 4 years, and it's very appreciated. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to use my voice, and thank you for being an example of using your own.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And you know what? We here, we are just big cheerleaders of our brothers and sisters, and we want nothing but the most for you guys to find your happiness, however that may look. Don't be afraid to heal out loud. If you guys want to join us, come on here and heal out loud with us. Shoot us an email. Come join us. If not, shoot us maybe an email. Maybe you want to heal out loud, but you don't want to say your story personally. Shoot it off to one of us, and we'll be sure to share it, because it is worth hearing, and you are all worth breathing and dying for. So we appreciate everyone out there. God bless you guys, and have an amazing, happy new year. And we'll see y'all next year. Take care.
Bye.
Don't let the day kick your.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.